And it's all about these marches in London, which at the moment are not just costing money because they just stop oil, but we've now got Sadiq Khan saying, oh, can we have some more money so that they can have some more marches? Well, how about you stop the bloody marches and then it doesn't cost you 240 million quid?
Well, I think it's a question of how you balance freedom of speech and right to protest. And freedom of speech and right to protest should be there. But there's got to be a point where Londoners also have the right to go about their business, to do whatever they want to do. And the fact that we've now had this for so many successive weekends...
I think it must be, what, 9, 10 weeks now?
The point has been made, and quite frankly, I was in one of the protests, and some of the points that were being made were very unpalatable.
Yeah.
I think the point has now been made, and it's time to say, look, you've had your protests.
And they're getting smaller, aren't they? Because I think the most recent one...
They're getting smaller, but they're still disrupting people's lives and livelihoods, and you've got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, getting smaller, when they were talking at one point of 100,000 people, they're now down to sort of 25, 30,000 people. So it's now just the sort of hardcore nutters, I'm going to call them, who've got the sort of the horrible slogans about, you know, portraying Israel as some kind of Nazi state and all of these nasty anti-Semitism chants that they put out there. So they've got down to the sort of the hardcore of people who, you know, you can't really defend people doing the same thing week after week after week after week, can you? And calling it free speech?
Of course not. I mean, I think part of the problem is, as Suella Braverman pointed out, we've had a two-tier policing approach to this.
Yeah.
So the police are doing this very kind of ostentatious sharing of photographs of people with, you know, really vile anti-Semitic placards. No, they can't necessarily arrest everybody on the day. But how is this still happening? That people are sharing these awful, racist, Jew-hating placards week after week. They should be arresting them as it happens, not looking for them later on social media.
No, exactly right. And also, when you've got Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, actually asking for more money rather than to ask for some kind of bylaw that can be passed to limit the kind of demonstration. I mean, like, I don't know what precedent there is for it, but could you not rope off a bit of Parliament Square or something and say, right, if you want to come and demonstrate every Saturday inside Parliament Square, this is where you can do it.
Or somewhere a bit further away.
Well, I mean, I would say you can't do it at all.
Like a really long way away.
I'm trying
nice
to be nice.
Stationary protest in the...
Swindon.
That'll do.
Yeah, Swindon. Once you go to Swindon, you know, you never go back.
He's not going to suggest anything that's workable, though, because he's not also doesn't want anything to make him very unpopular.
Yeah.
It's really funny with Sadiq Khan, because when he does something right, like he's a star, he's amazing, best mayor ever, but when something's not going so well, like us having to bail out TfL constantly, it's then big bad central government's fault, and he gets to wash his hands of it. These protests are in his city. He needs to have some responsibility and suggest something that will actually work. Yes, allow protests to go ahead. I'm someone that thinks, oh, sorry, I touched my mic, to a certain extent, that free speech, where it is, as you say, not horrendously racist, but he has to do
But isn't it a bit like the sort of the arguments we all have about asylum seekers and the way the law has changed and the way that the situation has changed? You know, the 1951, you know, United Nations, you know, Refugee Act doesn't really apply now because lots of things have changed. We've now got people traffickers, you know, running multi-million-pound organisations,
and the
getting people from point A to point B. And there's an awful lot more of them. You know, when the UN was thinking about this in the 1950s, it was post-Second World War. You know, we might need to take a few hundred people who are running away from a terrible situation. Not hundreds of thousands, maybe billions across the world, right?
I just have to rewind. I can't get this out of my head. A minute ago you said when Sadiq Khan does something really well.
Well, I was...
Do you have an example? Sorry, don't want to put you on the spot. It's rhetorical.
Something that's gone well, yeah.
No, but it is true. I even upped his own PR budget a couple of years ago, and I was just like, that's the last thing we need you actually spending more money on.
I know, absolutely ridiculous.